I think the title and the thumbnail pretty much summarize what this video is about, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. First, I want to talk about the new players being unable to play the game and the cash grabs that have been added in the recent updates. In the recent couple of updates, Fingersoft has made it almost impossible for new players to join the game. With the addition of adventure tokens and vehicle blueprints, they have made the progression through the early stages of the game quite a tedious process. With vehicle blueprints, you now have to wait for public events to unlock some vehicles, and others are just simply locked behind vehicle blueprints, which basically means that they are behind a paywall. If a new player wants to play with the vehicles that are unlocked only with vehicle blueprints, they need to either wait for months to unlock it, or they can play a challenge, which is very hard to come by due to the game not promoting content creators anywhere. New players don't usually know what Discord is, or they just don't want to join Discord servers until they are completely invested in the game. That means that without them joining Discord servers and without them knowing there is a community based around this game, they can't even try out new vehicles, which is way worse than before, when all vehicles were easily unlockable just by playing the initial trophy road and getting some gold. Adventure tokens are also a very bad addition to the game. I think nobody really asked for them, as there was nothing wrong with how you were previously able to unlock the adventure maps. The adventure tokens are really hard to come by for new players, as they are found in the adventure chests. You get adventure chests by playing adventure and getting a good distance in a run with an adventure chest. For new players that have very underleveled parts, it is pretty much impossible to get a good distance with their skill level and their map knowledge, which is basically non-existent. I feel like for an average player it would take months to even unlock the first couple of adventure maps. Imagine how long it would take to unlock all maps without them having the ability to easily get 50k plus consistently in a chest run. Even if they get 50k plus, that only gives a level 100 adventure chest, which yields 200 adventure tokens. You can double the tokens by watching an ad, but when new players are getting 10 to 20 tokens in each chest, they surely won't take another 40 seconds out of their life to double the tokens that they got. That means that they basically never unlock the unique maps that are the most expensive to get. While we are on the topic of ads, new players need to watch forced ads if they don't buy something in the game. I feel like this is a very 2014 approach, and I think there are lots of other ways for the game to make money instead of forcing a 10-second ad every time you finish a cup or an adventure run. It just makes the game look like one of those tab games that you can code in 2 days. Of course, there are other ways of getting adventure tokens as well. Public events, for example. But if you want to get good points in public events, you need to have a lot of gems, because you are certainly not getting 10 points every round as a new player. You also don't have VIP to double your points, and you probably won't be spending 40 seconds to watch an ad just to double the 3 to 4 points per round that you tend to get. Public events are also a topic on its own. The costs are way too expensive for new players, and if they want to progress in the game the quickest, they probably won't buy adventure tokens, but they will rather go for chests that at least give them some progression towards upgrading their parts on vehicles and getting some extra gold they can spend. The gems are also a problem for new players, as they usually need to save them to unlock new vehicles that were basically placed behind a paywall of public events. For new players, it is basically impossible to get 400 points in public events to unlock a new vehicle. If you want to refill the tickets to play the public event, you now need triple the amount of gems that you previously needed, which makes it impossible for new players to refill the tickets more than a couple of times. If they don't have VIP, their points from public events don't double and they are left with one automatic refill per day plus a couple refills from their saved gems, which is never enough to unlock a new vehicle. It feels like the developers don't even know how hard the game is to progress for new players. The new updates that they put out don't even affect the new players a lot of the times, as they don't have the capability of getting 2000 adventure tokens to play the new map, or they don't have the gems and the skill to get the new vehicle. So the new players can't play the contents of updates, and that is why they quit, and the long-term players are quitting because the game is getting too pay to win and stale. In general, the game offers less value for the purchases that used to offer way more value. It feels like they are constantly adding new cash grabs and they are just trying to squeeze the last cents out of the players before they terminate the game. This is the case with them adding 2 new vehicles per year, plus 1 new part per year, with the latest 2 parts being epic and legendary rarity. I know of players that were fully maxed before 2023 and are now a couple million scraps from being maxed. These players are also very active and spend money on the game. The game is designed in a way that you need all the parts maxed if you want to compete at the highest level in every part of the game. So how it currently stands, the biggest whales are the only players that are able to compete at the highest level. These players are usually a bit older and can't spend as much time on the game as some of the younger players, which can't afford maxing their garage. The vehicle paints are also pay to win sometimes, as some of them change the physics of the vehicle. This means that if you are free to play, you just can't go for certain records. Fingersalt has previously said that cosmetics don't change the physics and the performance of the vehicle, but that is sadly not the case. I could also go on about the newest update which added garage props, but it seems too silly to talk about it. Another cash grab update made in 10 minutes just to be a filler update instead of actually fixing the game. Now let's talk a bit about hackers. I think we aren't in 2012 anymore for the hackers to be such a big problem inside of HCR2. I feel like all the other big mobile games have gotten rid of that problem years ago. They just moved everything regarding the game to a server. The game therefore doesn't work if you don't have internet connection. That makes it way harder for hackers to actually have a hacked account, because they have to first hack into the game server before they can hack the game, which is often case impossible. I can't remember the last time I saw a hacker in Clash of Clans or Clash Royale, for example. If Fingersoft is so bad at making sure people can't hack the game, they should at least be able to remove hackers quickly instead of them allowing hackers to stay on top of leaderboards for months without being removed. At the other side of the spectrum, I feel like it is annoying that they are removing modded HCR2 gameplay from YouTube and striking people that do it. I think that is justified if somebody is displaying how to get an APK for an update or openly showing how to hack the game and how to get to the first place in the online leaderboards. If somebody is playing modded HCR2 without showing how to do it and without them appearing on the actual online HCR2 leaderboards, I think we should let them have their content on YouTube. It is advertisement for the game anyways. There are many videos on YouTube about modded Clash of Clans and not even a single one of them ever got removed by the developers. Next problem I want to talk about is the entire state of the HCR2 community. I want to start with the community managers, which are amazing at not doing their work. We currently have 4 community managers and not even a single one of them is actually managing the community. The point of a community manager is to be in many communities' Discord servers and actually engage with the community. They should constantly be talking to us about how much we enjoy the game, its problems and ways to improve it. The only thing the community managers are doing is hanging around in the Fingersoft Discord server, which is completely inactive, and ping everyone for an art contest which nobody cares about. Another problem is that the community managers, which are the only people that have the access to the developers, will only speak with the pit crews. The pit crews are people that did something for the game in the past, but most of the people that have pit crew have it for absolutely no reason. There are more than 10 people that have pit crew for moderating the official Fingersoft Discord server, which gets about 50 messages in 5 channels combined. Then there are people that host tournaments. Getting pit crew for that is a bit more justified, I guess. But those people made the tournament to get pit crew, not the other way around, which totally defeats the purpose. Besides that, they also had other pit crew friends which helped them get pit crew. I also made a tournament that had way more players than the average tournament that yields pit crew, and I didn't even get contacted by anyone for getting pit crew. That is because I don't have insider friends that grant pit crew to you, even if you do a 100-person tournament. Fingersoft also basically stopped giving pit crew in the recent years, which means that they are losing on beta testers. Players stop playing the game, and that is the case with pit crews as well. Because certain pit crews are also beta testers, that means that some of them only log on to beta test without them having any connection to what is currently happening inside of the game. That means that they always approve every update without filtering anything or complaining about anything. That is how Nitro and other stuff that is way too OP was created, with the community managers not listening to the community and the pit crew not being able to beta test the update enough to figure out that the part will revolutionize the game a bit too much. I feel like the recent mapmaker update has so much potential, but Fingersoft has just no clue how to bring the update to the next level. There are so many great suggestions in the suggestion tab in Fingersoft server, but Fingersoft just chooses to ignore all of them. One of the ways of giving people the incentive to play custom maps is to encourage the map makers to make maps that are just beyond fun. In Fortnite, that is done with the Map Creator Fund. Players make maps and then Epic Games pays them if their maps do well and a lot of people play them. Of course, they have an entire dedicated section in their game made for discovering new maps. That is also missing inside of HCR2. While we are on the topic of game developers funding their players, we can talk about the creator code. I feel like almost every other game has this feature at this point. This is a way developers can thank the creators for their contributions towards advertising the game. Nowadays, the only way a game can thrive is if it has an active community. There is only one way of how that can be done. It is by having a lot of content creators on TikTok and YouTube that pull in massive amounts of views per month. Because social media algorithms push such content to new people, those people can watch a couple of videos and decide to download the game. Those people then tell their friends about the game, and that ultimately creates a chain reaction that propels the game forward. I think Fingersoft is the company that holds some sort of a world record in disregarding the importance of content creators and their role in advertising the game. We as content creators have no contact with the game developers and the community managers. We don't have a creator code or any other funding from Fingersoft. We also can't dream of having pit crew or being beta testers, because if you moderate a Discord server, you bring more value to the community than if you get 10 million views on YouTube that help propel and advertise the game. As content creators, we have constant contact with the community, and we tend to know what is happening inside of the game. Sadly, there is no portal for us to provide the game developers with that knowledge. Not because we don't want such a portal, but because Fingersoft thinks they have everything under control. Lastly, I want to talk a bit about the competitive scene inside of HCR2. I want to mention how boring it is to be a top player in this game. In Fortnite, for example, which is one of the most successful online games currently, They have developer-sponsored tournaments basically every day. That really gives an incentive to the top players to constantly get better and try to go for the tournament victories, which most of the time reward you with actual money and not just some useless cosmetic. There are just so many ways of the developers giving back to the community, and Fingersoft doesn't apply even one of those tactics to HCR2. The competitive scene in HCR2 was dead even before Nitro, but after that update I feel like it completely died off. The world records that were grinded for hours on end were deleted by the people that had enough scrap to max the new part. But the competitive scene shouldn't just be about getting world records, it should be about players trying to win tournaments and getting reputation that way. The only portal for that inside of HCR2 have been the daily and weekly challenges for years now. That part of HCR2 hasn't been updated ever. It is still the same format and everything as it was back when the update for daily and weekly challenges came out all the way back in 2017. I know a lot of top players that are losing motivation to play HCR2 because there is just nothing to do in terms of competing. The community made tournaments that are not in any way endorsed by the developers and therefore don't get as much attention as they should for them to be as competitive as they could be. The rewards are also usually not that great as they come from the tournament organizers and not from the actual developers, which should be the ones giving out the rewards. There are also challenges, but those are usually not accessible to the majority of players, as one try costs 1 gem. Gems are better used for maxing your account than actually having fun and playing something that you want to play but you don't have the parts for. For a casual player, getting gems is a very tedious process that takes a long time. That process is getting even more tedious as the time goes on and as the developers are actively trying to decrease the amount of rewards you get from playing and buying bundles and increasing the time that it takes to get a max account. I don't believe there is currently anyone that has a fully maxed account, which speaks volumes as there have been months since the last update. For a new player, even maxing one part combination on one vehicle takes over a month of active playing. Now extrapolate that to 26 vehicles that have on average about 18 parts. For a very active player, it would take 13 years of playing HCR2 a couple hours per day to max their entire account. I don't think there are many more games that exist on the entire Play Store that are harder on their players than HCR2. There are definitely more problems, but I just can't think of them at the moment of making this video. I would really appreciate it if you guys could share this video with the community managers and help bring this game back to what it once was. Goodbye.